Hi, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the award winning Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. All of us here at Legends of Sport hope everyone had a great holiday season and New Year celebration. We're kicking off 2026 with an interview with someone I've known since the start of my career on the court. His name is Wayne Lebeaux. Wayne and I first met when he was a ball boy for the Boston Celtics in the early 1980s during the fierce rivalry days with the Lakers. Wayne worked his way up the ladder during his 18 years with the Celtics as equipment manager, then essentially becoming the team's road manager, a first in the NBA at the time. Following his time with the Celtics, Wayne crossed over into the music business, specifically in tour management. His client list is impressive, with Ringo Starr and Bruce Springsteen heading the list. I've stayed in touch with Wayne over the years and always get a kick out of seeing him in the wings of a rock show, just like I did back in the days when he sat on the court at Boston Garden. We had a great conversation about the similarities of the sports and music worlds, starting with the trust that is built over the years in both. So great to catch Wayne actually chilling during a break in his relentless schedule. Enjoy this episode, folks, and as always, I'll see you on the backside. Well, listen, I got a really, really special guest here, a guy I've known for the entirety of my photography career, right? I mean, without a doubt. My friend Wayne Lebeaux. Wayne, it's so great to have you on the Legends of Sport podcast. Thank you for being in one place at one time to sit down and talk to me. Where are you, by the way? Where are you calling it from?
Well, thanks for having me, and this is pretty neat. I'm glad I can help you out and maybe answer a few questions or
Thank you,
just
buddy.
people might have in general. Moment I'm in Florida, but still live in Boston.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so Florida is kind of home base, or it's sort of I mean, I don't even know what a home base would be for you, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. A hotel room. I've been in a hotel room the
Yeah.
last 40 years more than I have in my home.
Oh, yeah. I can believe it. Sure.
Yeah, but no, I split my time between Boston and in near Orlando. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. So Wayne, let's go back, man, because you know, you and I literally met at the beginning of my career. I had started as a photographer for the NBA in the very early 80s, 80, 81. Um, by the 82, 83 season, I was starting to travel. I ended up in Boston,
yeah,
um, and at I mean, the incomparable, infamous Boston Garden, which I had never been to in my life. I grew up a Rangers fan, by the way, in New York, so Boston Garden always had this mystique, growing up. And I see this young guy sitting there on the sidelines, in Celtic gear, usually sitting on the floor, dealing with players, interacting with trainer. And that was you. That was you, Wayne LeBeau. I mean, we just crossed paths. We sort of got to know each other, maybe by, a wink and a nod every once in a while. I think you tried to kick me out of the huddle a few times. I don't know, but
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. This
yeah.
paint photographer. Let's get in that freak out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that was, I hung my hat on that. But Wayne, tell me about, we always like to find out where the guest started, where the journey began. So tell me how did it start for you? In 79, you became a ball boy. How did that come about?
Well, you're right. Well, I was a senior in high school,
Mm-hmm.
Brookline, Mass, just outside of Boston,
Yeah.
and I went to all the Celtics and Bruins games in the old Garden all through high school. Fast forward, I'm at a Celtics basketball camp where when a regular summer camp ended, the Celtic Red Auerbach would have his summer. It's a week long, the
Yeah.
Red Auerbach basketball school, and the Celtics would come down, and that would be their tryouts for the players. Well, at the time, the new trainer came on named Ray Melchiori, who
Sure.
was with a few years and then moved on to Houston and. So Ray came on and we're just chatting one day at the Celtics camp, and he said, "Hey, want to be a ball boy? I don't know anybody." And I'm thinking, 18 years old, a ball boy. He said, "Come on, I just help me out. You can be my assistant."
Yeah.
Well, I did it because my dad used to buy tickets for me for the garden. Now I'm getting paid to go. So what?
And
Uh,
you get a pretty good seat, by the way. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was the head ball boy for a couple of years.
Hmm.
The equipment guy, who was the original equipment guy named Walter Randall,
Uh-huh.
had passed away, and I was helping him in a locker room and all. So in my second year, I became the equipment manager. Okay, that's cool. I'm washing uniforms. I'm doing stuff.
Hmm.
Year and a half later, Ray left to Houston, and in comes Ed Lacert, who was fresh out of Boston University,
Hmm.
never traveled as extensively. And the Casey Jones and Jan Volk, the GM at the time, said, "Hey, why don't you travel with us the first few weeks of preseason? Let's see how it goes." Oh, heck yeah! So, hey, and then, again, Andy, as you know, this is in a time when we had paper tickets. Remember with
Sure.
the, and I'd get to the airport 2 or 3 hours before any flight with 25 or so tickets, including the players, the coaches. Eddie and myself were the only staff at that time. Now 20 staff,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I had 6 or 8 radio, TV, major print people with us, Bob Ryan and those folks.
Right.
So I after a few weeks of that and things were going so smoothly, Casey Jones said, "You know what? Just stay with us all year and become the road manager per se." Which so after my third and a half year, I here I am, the road manager.
Sure.
Like holy crap!
Yeah.
And it helped Ed because at the time, after his second and third year, he was busy with McHale and Bird and Parrish,
Hmm.
uh, and then Walton, of course, a few years later.
Hmm.
So it was a win-win for us, and we were the first team, which I always like to mention, that the first NBA team at the time that had 2 people on the road, and I was the first guy that was not a trainer that handled travel in the league.
Hmm.
You know, because the trainers did everything at the time.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that because first of all, I wasn't aware that the Celtics were the first team that had somebody besides the trainer handling travel. Pat Riley always talked about, and Gary Beatty always talked about that. Back then, the teams were 12 plus 2 plus 1, right? 12 players, 2 coaches, and a trainer. And then Pat went even further and said everyone else was a peripheral opponent. That's a whole other conversation.
Well,
But, but
that,
yeah,
yeah, but you're right. At the time, sometimes some teams had 3 coaches.
yeah.
Business. So yes, you're right, and that was the small group.
Yeah, yeah. We did everything, and it's insane. So, here I am, this young guy, originally from New York. I went to school at UMass. We have a mutual friend, Gary Schnaper. You grew up with my best friend for 50 years now. Um, all my friends are Celtic fans. I didn't actually couldn't really care less about the Knicks growing up. I was like I said, Rangers fan, Mets fan, became a Red Sox fan, which was great and still am.
Good.
And I'm coming into Boston Garden with the Lakers, the sworn enemy. I mean, talk about hatred and a rivalry. I don't think it gets any deeper than that, right? Even though I was technically working for the league, I was sort of attached to the Lakers, right? And traveling with them. Um, I know how tangible the rivalry was in that locker room, right? Um, t- from your perspective, just going back, Wade, remembering, I mean, how deep did that hatred run between those two franchises?
It was deep. It was fiercely competitive.
Yeah.
Every member of the Celtics was that they were going to win. They were determined to win.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if it takes throwing an elbow or pushing somebody,
Yeah.
uh, it was just the fierce competitiveness, especially of the big three with us
Yeah.
for McKay. But everybody. I mean, but I have to tell you, some of the Lakers guys, because you may remember,
Mhm.
I go into each visitor's locker room, say hi to the trainer and a few players I know on each team.
Yeah.
At the time, I mean, Worthy and Kupchak, and those guys were so darn nice to me. They didn't care I was wearing a Celtics uniform.
Oh man, I can't release that. These guys hear that, they're gonna go nuts after
I don't care.
45 years.
I don't care. And Kurt, I mean, I love Rambus.
Yeah,
So
of course. No, I mean, yeah.
okay, delete. Um, but it was fiercely competitive. It
Yes,
was
of course.
it,
I'm kidding.
it it was yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, Wayne? It was a special time, man. I mean, we don't see that now anymore in any sport. You know, Yankees played the Dodgers last year in the playoffs, and I mean, sorry, in the World Series. Of course, that rivalry goes back
Yeah.
70 years. Um, and in the NBA, NHL, I don't think NFL, we don't see that kind of, I don't know, just leave it all on the floor hatred. And I went to the Showtime reunion a couple of years ago that Pat Riley and Magic did.
Yep.
3/4 of the time was that we spent together either on the golf course or at dinner. We're talking about how much these guys still hate the Celtics. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It is. And, I'm with Pat. We comes to a lot of shows or
Yeah,
work with now. And, he and Christy come a lot. And now and then he'll give me a little jab and he'll always
sure.
laugh.
Yeah.
But, that was then. But, I haven't been to a game. I went to one game 2 years after I left the Celtics. Shaq called me one day and said, "Hey, I
Hmm.
heard you come see me." So I literally went to the forum
Yeah.
and I saw Shaq and VD and everyone,
Uh-huh.
uh, after the game, which was great.
Yeah.
But I just have zero interest in the NBA nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm old fashioned. I'm old. They're shooting T-shirts in there. They have cheerleaders. You do that for football, maybe, but NBA, the way I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, the product was on the floor. You didn't need all this peripheral.
Yeah, I would probably concur with that. I miss the old game. I miss the physicality. Now everything's from the outside going in. I mean, you got a 7'5" guy, Wembanyama, shooting 3 pointers, for God's sake. I mean, look, the games evolve, and we know that. But I'm with you, man. I long for the old days, and a fight every once in a while, isn't too bad either. So.
Yeah, yeah,
So Wayne, tell me, let's keep going on your career path. So you left the Celtics, then what happened? What was the next phone call like that determined your career path?
yeah. Well, I will say if I could just throw
Yeah.
this in. But I left the Celtics after being there 18 years.
Hmm.
Came in and cleaned house. Good for him. Whatever. I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Um, and then about a year, and now in that now this is before cell phones. In
Mm.
seven, pretty much. I got over 400 calls to my home number on the answer machine. I still have them, and now and then I listen of "Hey Wayne, sorry to hear. God, if I can do anything for you, call me." So I call back a handful of people.
Hmm.
Things like you've done, people that you may have arranged tickets for, maybe got an autograph or an introduction or whatever. Not one of those 400 people came through when I said, "Hey, this is a couple months later. Hey, I'm looking for a job."
Mm.
I took some time to myself. Not one of those people came through. So that was a big lesson.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then a year later, I get into the professional music business where I still am now.
Yeah. So how did that happen though? Like I
It,
want to know how that, the
it,
catalyst for that.
well, it's just someone that knew me, took a liking to me, saw my hard work, heard about my Celtics days and all that,
Hmm.
and recommended to someone else, "Hey, this guy would be great."
Hmm.
In fact, it was the gentleman that owned the Celtics airplane at the time, because in the 90s, everybody started going private,
Right. Right.
and the Knicks, no, I'm sorry, the Bulls were the first team to use MGM Airlines, which
Right.
was a private, which
I
they
remember that.
LA to New York. Remember, they had luxurious, like, anyway. So the Bulls were the first because of Michael's back and just
Hmm.
the next season started the Knicks and then in the Celtics.
Hmm.
A couple of years later, it was better or more affordable, I guess, to get our own plane. So the gentleman that owned the plane that the Celtics had, that pretty much lived in Boston, also carries bands so that guy mentioned me to someone in the music business.
Yeah.
That's who I am now. So I've been all around the world. I have a great job, work for some well-known artists, and things are pretty damn good right now.
So wait, the first big gig was that with Ringo and his all-star band? Was that your
No,
first?
no, it's the gentleman from Jersey.
Oh, what's that guy's name? I forget. Bruce somebody. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Bruce came before Ringo?
Yeah, Ringo was a year later.
And was it like George Travis and his people that reached out? Wow, amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Wayne, needless to say, there's so many similarities between the sports business and the rock and roll music business. I
Sure.
mean, especially from where you sit. And so tell me about you yourself, your personality. Like what is it about you that you feel you can cross over to from one to the other seamlessly? You know, like what skills did you bring from your years at the Celtics into the music business that you still use to this day?
Well, thanks. I'll answer that in a second. But I also have done things not in the music business or not in pro sports.
Okay.
But I say that because there's a few little gigs I've done over the years in between my stuff. And I have to say, Andy, and everyone watching, I've been told many times by a lot of people what some of my characteristics that they love is I'm always happy, I'm reliable. I'm not going to be shit faced at the bar and wake up and miss a wake up call or whatever.
Right.
Honest. I'm honest, and I keep anything I know to myself. I do not talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, and look, I'm not saying any of my guys or the few women I work with have done anything wrong at all. But being close to certain people, you hear and see and do things that, it doesn't, Simon Schuster flew me to New York about 20 years ago, wanted me to write a book of the dirt.
Yeah.
And the guy says, tell me some stories. I told him a couple of Celtic stories and,
Yeah.
tell me more. I said, I'm sorry, everything I know, or I probably forget them, or they're going to my grave. They're all up here locked away. He's okay. We're done. Thank you.
Yeah. You know,
I,
I'm the same way, Wayne. People ask me all the time, why don't you write a book? Or why I'm doing a documentary? I'm like, you know what? I love these people. You know, I don't want to what I don't want to profit off any kind of like story or memory or whatever. I mean, it does, you know, who needs it? And and look, we both have a lot of stories to tell, and we'll probably both take it to our graves, which is fine with me. Um, but what you're speaking of, Wayne, really the number one asset has to be trust. And I know that from my perspective, you know, working, let's say, with Kobe for 20 years. I mean, you know, he allowed me into his inner sanctum, just like, you know, you were there with Larry Bird, not one of the easiest personalities to work with, you know, in sports. You've been there with huge stars, you know, Ringo, Bruce, the entire band, everything. So it begins and ends with trust, because like you know and I know, we don't get a second chance, right?
sure.
You screw it up, it's done. Um, but there's so many nuances that you have to understand, that you and I, but you especially in your world, you got to understand every personality, not just the star, but everybody from top to bottom, all of their nuances, their needs, their quirks, you know, their requirements. Um, Obviously, you got to be respectful of the hierarchy that in sports. It's of course, the ownership group and the GM and all that stuff. But I guess on the music side, it's the tour manager and the you know the artist manager and their management team. The fact that you are so, and you know this. Like I see you during concerts. You know, I'm in the pit, and I always position myself with stage left so I could get a glimpse of you leaning on the rail, and you're bopping around a little bit, because I know that Wayne is like, okay, the job is done, the show is on, and I'm going to enjoy it for a while. But I know that all of this is conjuring up, and then the next thing you're thinking about is getting him off the stage, into the car, into the plane, to the next place, right? Um,
Yeah, I do enjoy the shows, but
yeah,
probably 51% of my reason. No, I'm sorry, that's 49% the reason why. The other part is I'm watching him. Yeah, I'm watching him dance and sing, but I'm watching him just to see if he tweaks his ankle or his
yeah.
back. Or I care about all my guys. It's
Sure.
not they're enjoying the music, but because I want to keep that extra eye on them,
Yep.
I care about everyone I work with. So that's 51% of the reason why I'm out there enjoying myself.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the gazillion of things that you have to think about. I mean, everything technical that's going on. And then with the rock show, oh, let's mix in doing an outdoor show in a stadium in the rain, by the way. It's like I was there at MetLife on Bruce's birthday, whatever year that was, and the lightning storm and the whole thing. And I know you guys played that whole section of the tour in the UK when the weather was bad and Bruce got sick. And like, how do you plan for all these contingencies and plan B and C and D?
Yeah. Well, I don't do anything. I have nothing to do with the production side. So I'm really just taking care of whoever I'm working with or the
Mhm.
band individual
Yeah.
and working with the tour manager if I'm not the tour manager on a given tour, or working with the production manager or the promoter
Hmm.
or security, whatever. Um, but we adapt. We've been doing this a long time. We know what we have to do.
Hmm.
And if it takes coming off stage in the middle of a show, which we've done a few times, then everyone's ready for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
communication, that's the main thing too. Okay, I may know something,
Hmm.
and like anything, there are things I need to know that are just me.
Hmm.
The wardrobe people need to know, hey, we're coming back to the dressing room early, or just it's just communication. It
Yeah.
just I'm big on communication and just spreading the word around. Everyone needs to know whatever they need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm remembering a funny moment with Chris Bodakin, of course, who you know from Laker days. He's my Bruce buddy. We call each other Bruce buddy because we've seen, I don't know, together 50 or 60 shows. And we were in Houston. I remember this. And we saw you before the show, before the lights came down. And we knew the buses were, this at the old whatever arena it was, were parked behind. And I don't know. I asked you something like, "Oh, does he like hang around after the show?" He goes, "Danny, before the lights are even out, he is he is in the car, basically in the plane. Like don't even think about any kind of post concert anything because he's done." And just the planning that must take, from getting getting everyone from point A to point B is truly remarkable. I mean, I worked with Gary Vitti for a long time. Gary was great at that. You were great at that. Every head trainer and road manager, that has to be your actual sixth sense, is knowing
Right.
how to get things done. You touched on it earlier about basically, rock stars love sports, right? And sports stars love rock stars. It's like it's so crazy for me to go to shows, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I just took my daughter to see Sabrina Carpenter or whoever it is, and there are sports celebrities out there with their kids or whatever, And we talked about Pat Riley and how Pat loves Bruce and Pat and Chris both. And we actually got together, if you remember, back in Foxborough. You came out and said hi to us. We took a picture together in the pit before the show, which was unbelievable. Um, does that, what does that say to you? Like about, I don't know, just the mutual admiration and appreciation society of artists from different genres having so much respect for each other.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's the respect. And look, they're just people.
Hmm.
And they just want to be entertained and get away from their life as well.
Yeah.
One thing I love about whether it's sports or music or anything you go as a patron go see is,
Hmm.
and I use music more so because and some of my people work for 3 hours, some work for 90 minutes.
Hmm.
I think, and I look out at the crowds of 50, 60,000 on any given night, and I think, okay, how many people are here that like have problems at home,
Hmm.
like problems, whether it's a recent loss, financial, whatever it is. But everybody in that stadium or in that arena watching the basketball game or a Bruins hockey game or whatever, people that you kind of forget your woes for that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or and that's what I love about anything like that. Again, an event, you just kind of most people forget about, and I love seeing people having a great time. It's just it is nice to have that little break in life, especially those that are going through hardship at this point in their lives for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's so amazing you brought that up because my friend Chris and I went to Manchester. We saw one of the three shows there, and we're in the pit waiting for the show to start, and there's a British guy there with his daughter, probably in her 20s. You just start talking to people, of course, and they were going through a rough spot in their life. He didn't get specific, but I knew it was a health issue somewhere in the family,
Yep.
and he said, you know what? But for this 3.5 hours, we can forget about it. We can just enjoy life, enjoy being together, have gratitude, and that's all because of what's coming out from the stage. I mean, it just and look, I know in sports, Kobe talked about it all the time. Michael Jordan talked about it, that they're playing for that one person maybe sitting up at the top of the rafters who never seen them play before, right? And
Yep.
they're going to play full out. And for me, being my age, 67, and seeing this guy at 75, it can't be there's nothing more inspiring to me, honestly, than that. It's just the purpose that he continues to have for his music and what he can give to all of us out there, right? It's an intangible, right? But it
Amazing.
you
He's amazing.
feel it so deep. And going back to when you were with the Celtics, and Larry Bird had gone through a lot with his back injury, and he played through a lot. And Bill Walton, all these guys, but and especially Larry, because I remember with the Dream Team how Larry basically couldn't walk in '92. I mean, for all intents and purposes, he shouldn't have been on the team, but of course they needed him,
Right.
and he gave it all he had out there, and you see that now, of course, on a nightly basis. That's another crossover.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting back to Larry, Larry was one of the most intense. Look, I didn't hang out with all the other NBA players,
Mm-hmm.
but I lived 5 minutes from Larry. He and I were close.
Mm-hmm.
The practice gym, I don't know if you were ever there, called Hellenic College.
Yeah, of course, sure.
The other teams came for shoot arounds it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had keys to that. I kind of ran it.
Uh-huh.
We'd leave practice, on a given day at 2, 3 o'clock. Larry would call me at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Say, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Say, meet me at the gym in 10 minutes.
Come
I
on, rebound for me.
would go open up the gym 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be there for 1 to 2 hours. I mean, he'd be running, I'd be rebounding. We'd do drills. We'd play one on one.
Yeah.
Of course, he let me win every 50th time.
Right.
Uh, you know, uh, but the guy was so intense. I mean, yeah. Again, I know there are many other players that work their tails off, but
Yeah.
just amazing, just amazing.
No, he was. He wasn't particularly, I mean, athletically gifted if you think of an NBA player. I mean, the guy could jump, maybe he could jump 6 or 7 inches.
Yeah, that tall, that
But he
much.
was he was deadly, and his trash talking game obviously second to none. I mean, second to
Phenomenal.
none.
He would talk trash to everybody,
Yeah. I mean,
and
Michael Cooper, I mean, God bless him. I think he's still traumatized by all the trash talking, but 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 seeing those guys match up against each other and Coop being able to take it, and Magic talked about it too, of course, all the time. But that
yeah,
was part of Larry's arsenal, right?
yeah. How about again, Larry? How about and this has been all over TV and videos and stories about Larry. One of my favorite things he is trash talking, but how about when he would tell whoever's guarding him what he's doing?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go over that corner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great.
Dribble twice with my left hand, spin around.
Yeah.
He could guard the freaking guy. It's just,
Crazy. Yeah, it's
just
crazy. I was there, Wayne, in whatever year that was, that it was the second 3-point contest at the All-Star weekend, because he had won, I guess Larry won the first one or whatever it was. And it's a legendary story, but I got to tell it, and you've probably heard it, but he comes in the locker room and the rest of the 3-point contestants are in there. He goes, "Okay, which one of you motherfuckers is coming in second?"
that,
Just like, talk about put everybody on their heels.
that was pretty. And before that,
Yeah.
a week or two before that, we'd go to Hellenic at night. I remember I had 3 ball racks.
Yeah.
Bring them by. I bought 2 more for him, just
Mm.
for him. And we go at night, and I had ball racks you know, he
Yeah.
would have some pride. They're just an unbelievable, uh, you know, unbelievable. That's all
Yeah,
you can say.
a great competitor. I mean, it's akin to the story about Kobe. Kobe's dad, when Kobe was growing up in Lower Merion suburbs in Philadelphia, his dad actually was the athletic director for Kaiserman Jewish Community Center, which was in the next town over. You probably know this story. And his dad, being the athletic director, had the keys to the gym. So the kid would come home from school, do his homework, and then spend 6 hours in the Jewish Center gym.
How great. Oh, that's
It's like nobody really knows that story. I found out because I actually did an event at a fundraising event at Kaiserman, and they told that story, and you could feel like his presence in there in this little high school. It's even smaller than a high school gym. It's Jewish,
yeah,
so kind of funny. Um,
pretty neat. That's that's a real quick side story is
yeah,
Boston at the old Garden.
yeah,
There was one of the Bull Gang, the guys that worked there.
yeah.
He was on there forever. I think he just retired a couple years ago, but his name is John Grislick. His son Matt skated there as a kid because of his dad, and
Yeah.
Matt's NHL now. He played for the Bruins for 6 years, and now he's
Hey,
in
wow.
Philly. I think Philly now. But
Yeah,
again, similar thing.
yeah,
Access to the ice 24/7, and Matt and his brothers. But Matt would go work his tail off, and
yeah,
he would even go practice with the Bruins now and then. But same thing. It's just they're lucky, and if they're a dedicated kid, as Kobe and Matt or anyone else that has that opportunity,
yeah,
heck, what a great thing. Well, take advantage of it.
yeah, for sure. So one big question for you, my friend. I mean, what do you see as the common thread of greatness? It doesn't matter if you're a rock star, if you're a sports star, if you're, Barack Obama, whoever. I mean, Kobe always talked about that upper echelon of icons that just sort of live above everybody else, even in their own sphere. Um, what is that secret ingredient, man? I mean, I haven't been able to figure it out. Kobe called it, of course, famously the Mamba mentality. But what do you think it is?
I think it's a combination of a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're working hard, whether on the court, on the ice, on the stage, on the baseball field. People are going to see you working hard and busting your hump. And then if you do things around the community, or you sign an autograph for a kid,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you do, you're giving the people, they see, oh, he's a community, he's a people person.
Right.
Seen many times athletes that won't sign an autograph, or little kid, get away from me, kid. I mean, I know I can see if you're sitting there cutting your steak, hey, give me a few minutes, let me finish dinner.
Yeah.
Like that's how you gain fans,
Mm-hmm.
how you treat people. And I think again in Boston, especially because we're like LA, but we're so uh, sports addicted and drawn. We have
Mm-hmm.
that it's how you treat people, what you do on the court or the field or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and just being a good person, staying out of the the news, all the bull crap with the news. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what it's a clean, good person.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's that intangible, I don't know, I guess it's innate. You're born with this sort of extra gear, I like to call it, when you get to that level, you know. Hey, what I wanted to ask you about photographers. Okay, I mean, you know me. I've been a photographer for my entire adult life. Um, I've been known to ruffle some feathers every once in a while when I would try to get into a huddle. Um, in fact, that's how that's honestly that was the turning point in my career is when I kind of stood up to Pat Riley early in my career, and when he kept kicking me out of the huddle, and I kept trying to come in, and he he spoke to me in very plain Schenectady-ish language, like, why are you. And finally I convinced him, and like we talked earlier, you have one shot at it, right? You've worked with some amazing photographers in your line of work. I mean, going back to the Celtics, Steve Lepovsky, of course, all the great Sports Illustrated photographers, Dick Rayfield. who, by the way, Terry, our good friend Terry Lyons, had a great line for Dick Rayfield. When Tunnel of Love came out, talk about a crossover. Terry always referred to Dick Rayfield as fat man sitting on a little stool. You remember Dick used to sit because he was a big dude. He used to sit on that little stool, you know. Anyway, that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. But but in the music world, I mean, the top of the top. I mean, we've had them on the show. Danny Clinch has been on the show, a good friend. Pete
Annie,
Souza,
Annie Leibovitz
Annie
is,
Leibovitz. I mean,
yeah,
you name it, they've been there. Um, Rob DeMartin, I'm in such awe of what he does on a nightly basis, night after night. Of course, Pam Springsteen as well,
yeah,
um, and these, they got to play by the rules, of course. I love how Danny talked about on the podcast. He talked about like pushing the envelope a little bit, sneaking out behind the drum kit, his sweet spot, he called it. But
yeah. Excuse me. At times, like I did with you, 100 years ago.
yep.
Uh, and again, you and everyone wants that great shot, and it,
Hmm.
of course. But there are times when the rules aren't allowed to be broken or bent, and it's
Yeah.
it's just I get it, and I always appreciate, as you did, trying to pop into trying to poke that little bubble, get around the playoff. And,
Yeah.
and of course, during the playoffs, it was more intense for everybody.
Hmm.
That's probably most times I would ask you to come on, Andy, back away, or I'd stand in front of you, or
Yeah.
you know, and hey, look, everybody has a job to do, and you want to do it that much better. So,
Yeah.
uh,
It was
the,
quite a little dance, though. I look. I had a lot of moxie back in those days. I wouldn't have that today, but that was what I hung my hat on, and what I think what the NBA saw in this sort of aggressiveness that I had, that didn't push the envelope too far, but pushed it enough, and then you gain the trust, of course,
yeah, yeah,
and that was
and
the important thing.
it's a trust, but you know what? It's the respect. If
Hmm.
I know, or someone else, hey, Andy, back away. You did. You didn't. You weren't cute and go on the other side of the huddle, or
Right. Right.
drop lens and pretend you were respectful, and I always appreciate that. Even now, or wherever, you know, there's a reason I'm saying no. I'm not being a dick.
Yeah. Of
But there's internal reasons or whatever
course.
that you'll get it. Just I'm not saying no. Now's not the time.
Yeah, 100%. And we've all learned to respect that. And that's why these people keep coming back, by the way. That's why Danny continues to do what he does. And Rob continues to get hired every time the tour resumes. And Pam, of course. I mean, Pam, of all people, could have carte blanche, but I watch her. I see her, she's obeying the rules just like everybody else, and it's a wonderful thing for me. Like, I keep half an eye on them as they're working, because it's sort of, I'm living a little bit vicariously through them, which is cool.
By the way, Pam is an amazing photographer.
Amazing. Oh,
She
she's,
really is. She knows her stuff, as Rob.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but is Pam wonderful?
yeah,
She's saying that just blew me away.
yeah, for sure. They just did a workshop together, which I wanted to talk to her about. I don't know if you're aware of that, up in Maine,
Yeah,
I think, or something.
yes, yeah. It was a
Yeah.
5 day. I heard it went great.
So, Wayne, as we wrap this up, my friend, I'm not asking you for any information. That will come out when it's ready. But are you enjoying some downtime? I mean, I can imagine you don't get a lot of downtime, even when you're traveling and there's a show every third day. You have to pick your moments, obviously, but you're on the job, you're working. Right now, you're chilling. I hope. I hope.
Chilling. In Florida, hanging out, and
Good.
all is good.
Yes, it's awesome. Well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough. I have regards from our buddy Gary Schnaper, by the way. I just saw Gary a couple weeks ago,
Great.
and one of my dearest friends ever. And I know I'll be seeing you somewhere, hopefully down the road, man. I can hope and pray for that. So let's hope so.
You just never know, do you?
You never know. Yeah, I've seen the movie twice. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm in awe of how this guy, um, you know, Jeremy channeled Bruce, was able to. I mean, who the hell on earth could possibly become him for 90 minutes? It's crazy.
it was amazing. He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and they recreated New Jersey like perfectly, I think, from that era, you
It
know?
was incredible. It was incredible. Scott Cooper, the director, he and his staff just did a phenomenal job. The movie is, it's dark,
Hmm.
but that's Bruce's life. And
Yeah, and it was important, and it was a slice of his life that most of us, big fans, whatever, sort of kind of knew about. I mean, he wrote about it in his autobiography. He talked about it in his show, but hats off to him for showing what he was going through at that period. And we've had many people on, from Kevin Love to you name it, talk about mental health issues on this podcast, which is really, really important, especially for famous people, because it helps so many people understand that if you're struggling, there's help, and I'm a testament to that. And I've been dealing with stuff for a long time, and I gotten the help I needed, and it's helped me in life. So anyway, that enough said about that. But it's so great to reconnect with you, as always.
it'll having me, and hope the audience has enjoyed at least one thing that I said.
Oh, come on, man. I think it's fascinating. I mean, you and I could sit at a bar and have a beer or two and go over a lot of this stuff more in detail, because the crossover between sports and music, and I had a long talk with Danny Clinch about that as well, because it's basically the same thing, just on a different stage, you know. And I appreciate your friendship for so many years, Wayne, and just seeing you off to the side, or seeing you go through the crowd, or doing your thing, or seeing you in the back of an Instagram post, which I do see a lot, when you see Bruce out and about, or he's leaving to go to a show, and there's Wayne, like right there, like two steps behind. It's just warms my heart, man. So it's great to see you, and understand where we came from, where we're at now, and where we're going to still go. So hopefully see you down the road.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you, and we'll bump into you somewhere.
Thank you, my brother. Great to see you.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, big thanks to Wayne for making some time during his very, very precious time off to chat with me on this episode. I can't wait to see him back in his element soon, which may mean my favorite rock star will be back on tour. Fingers crossed for that. Thanks as always to our producer, Carlin Barker, and our editors, Sean Gosser and Addison Shao. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We are so thankful to all our loyal followers. Folks, please tell all your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and our Instagram at Legends of Sport. And of course, my photography can be found on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Please check out the discount link in our social media to our good friends at Muggsy. We absolutely love Muggsy's clothes. And the discount link to our friends at You Should. The best way you should protect your skin for work, play, and everyday life. Thanks again, folks. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Legends of Sport podcast.